Sky Howdy, and welcome back to another episode of World Bigfoot Radio.
Hang gliders over Mount Sentinel. And my arms are getting really tired. But anyway, there you go.
Welcome back, everyone. We've got another extra super spectacular episode of In Search of Lovelock Cave Part 2. And with us today, we not only have the indefatigable and inimitable M.K. Davis, but we also have the amazing and incomparable Ron Moorehead with us as well. So we are doubly blessed to have two of the total icons of Bigfooting here with us today. And what we're going to do is we're going to continue to talk about the Lovelock Cave thing, because MK was there many times. And as we mentioned at the end of the last show with him, when they found that handprint, he right away called people to let them know that, hey, this thing might not be here very long. And that's when Ron comes into the picture. So welcome to the show, Ron.
Well, thank you. Pleasure being here. Good to see you again, MK.
Good to see you, Ron.
Welcome back, MK. All right, you guys. First thing we want to mention, this is kind of a little side light thing here, but we think you guys will find this mightily humorous, especially in light of the fact that MK actually got video of it. But he was taking his grandkids to this animal park, and go ahead, MK.
Well, wild safari, I think this is what they called it, with emphasis on wild. You're supposed to just drive through it, you know. It's you feed the animals out the window, but the animals had gotten to where they wanted to join the party inside, and this camel came straight through the window and grabbed my wife's bag of camel food and ripped it open right there in front of her. Took half the bag with what was in it, and the other half spills out all over her and all over the floor. And she's screaming, and the kids started screaming, and you couldn't hear your ears for the screaming. The camel could care less about. He could care less about us. He could no concern at all. He knew exactly what he wanted.
He probably used to the screaming.
I looked up, and here comes some kind of I don't know whether it was water buffalo or a bull, or it had huge horns that stuck straight out to a point this way, hyperbolic. And right before he went to jam his head into my window, which I knew would be a disaster, he lifts his head up and trots on by. I guess he knew he couldn't get them big horns in there. And then here comes an ostrich, and the ostrich is doing like a snake thing. You know, he's, oh, he hit me. And he hit me 2 or 3 more times. And I got some of the little pellets and put in my hand, and he grabbed it, pinched it. So I can tell you right now, it does not feel good for an ostrich to bite you. I don't know what they can do with their legs, you know, with their claws. I was going to check out, you know, I had read a lot about ostriches. I read that they were the only bird with eyelashes. And the only bird with a bladder. You know, like a mammal. Mm-hmm. That actually pees on the ground. But I didn't have a chance to check out any of that. because he immediately went to working on me and getting that food. And then other ostriches saw what was happening. They started coming. You had to just drive through them, get away. You know, I thought maybe we were going to have to just leave them the car and run, make a run for it. The gate was behind us. Went on around, and the giraffes, let me tell you what, they were wicked. They, one guy had his sunroof open, and they just stuck their whole head and half their neck down in there. Look, they were able to scope out the whole inside of the car for that food.
It's pretty
But by
brazen.
just, from standing over here on the side. It was quite an experience. Kids got terrorized, but they left there laughing their heads off. It must have been something that, that burst of adrenaline that kids enjoy. I was having a worse time.
Kids love having the bleep scared out of them.
Yeah, they need to make some kind of food that you can have Bigfoot come up to you.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like it works.
Peanut butter and bacon.
Bacon, yeah, okay. I have heard several stories about people cooking bacon out in the woods.
We used to, yeah.
Brought everything.
Mine like bacon. And
it also brings the bears in, though.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Put some brown sugar with it. That really does it.
Oh, God.
I'm almost willing to fight them over it, though.
Yeah.
I like bacon
We took a bunch of bacon up there at the Sarah camp one time, and we cooked it all, and it smelled so good. We so hungry we ended up eating it another time. Anyway, yeah. Have to fight them.
Oh. Hey, fella. No. Oh, no. Not one of those guys. You're going to bite me, dude. He's looking for food. It's coming your way. There's one coming your way. Not my bag. Kidding about?
Please go!
No!
Please!
I want some food to feed him.
You can't have my bag! You can't have my bag! Please! Go!
Hey! Let's not get carried away now.
Papa, go! I got it!
That giraffe got it all. Hey, he got it all, bud.
I'm not kidding!
He got it every bit of it.
Go!
It's gone.
They're
Wait a minute. Here's one granule.
Go,
one granule. He got it.
Go!
Okay. Shaq. Let's go.
go. Let's go.
There's a giraffe in the car. Hey, let me out of the seat. Bye. Let me out. Oh, I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I'm not kidding. Let me out. The ostrich. Wait, what? That's a gazelle. It's a zebra. That's a gazelle. Is it running towards us? No, it's walking towards us. It's coming. It's coming. Hold it out the window. He's good.
What's happening?
No, it's an ostrich.
What's happening?
No, it's an ostrich. Oh no, it's an ostrich. Go! Where? Look at those teeth. There. No, Go! Go, Peppa!
Okay, I'm going.
Go!
Oh my gosh.
That's scary!
Yeah, they want
Bison.
the grass. They don't
They're
want meat. A little measly.
Nana, they're yelling.
Oh my
Those
gosh.
people are.
There's an ostrich over there. Should I
What?
give him the rest of my food?
Where?
Yeah.
Where?
Him.
Noah.
Where's the ostrich? Ostrich?
Down there.
That's a big old animal there.
Where?
They're huge.
Get off of me! It hurts! Get off! Please get off! No! Get off of me! Are you happy?
Okay, here we go. He sees it, I think.
Go! Go, Papa!
All right, here we go. Manfred.
Papa,
Oh,
go! Go!
look, it's gone except a piece of grass.
Go, Papa, go!
All
Oh!
right, let's go.
Hurry!
Bye, Manfred.
See you later, Manfred.
I should have put one
Bye.
up here in the front.
Anyway,
We had one at our camp where there was only two of us there, and I was walking down the ridge line coming back to camp, and Shane was down there, and he was cooking up a whole pound of bacon, over the open fire, and the wind switched as I was coming down the hill, and all of a sudden I could smell the bacon. It was blowing the bacon smell up the hill. And then shortly afterwards, I was about halfway up the hill. On the top of the hill behind me, I heard a single excited wood knock. Approximately at the same time I guesstimated that waft of bacon got up there.
uh-huh.
So, yeah, that was pretty funny. They're like, oh, bacon. Hell yeah. We're going to get some bacon. All right, you guys. So one of the things we were talking about at the end of the last show was how giants got over here across the Pacific, and MK was talking about the reed boats and whatnot, and I mistakenly said Kontiki, which wasn't. That was balsa wood. Raw was the one that was made out of reeds, and that correlates with the story in Peru of the giants showing up there on reed boats, being generally nasty and obnoxious. There was like 3 of them, and the locals killed them all 3 of them, got rid of them. Well, because they were eating the locals and being nasty and obnoxious. So anyway, there's more correlation for somehow they got across the ocean on these reed boats, and we know that they can make waterproof structures with these things, and a good example of that is the one hand basket that MK's got some pictures of. We'll show them right here. It was at the Lovelock Cave. Go ahead, MK.
Yeah, those baskets had a different weave to them than the standard, open top basket. They were used for carrying water, and they had hair. I don't know whether it was horse hair, human hair, or what, as woven in as handles. And you'll see on the picture there the type of weave. It didn't have any pitch in it or any sealant, but it would carry water today, as old as it was.
Incredibly tightly woven, as you can see by the pictures. It's that's some really good work on that.
It
Yeah,
also swells up when it gets wet, right?
I suspect that it probably does, but it seemed plenty tight. I couldn't see any airspace in there at all. It was just pulled. Each one was pulled tight, but it was a different weave too, different than the baskets normally were.
Did the Sikatol, did they have woven baskets in Humboldt bed? Did you ever find anything like that?
They found, they found several baskets inside the cave.
Mhm.
I don't know if that.
I mean ships, boats that they might be in. They
Oh, you
might
mean
have, yeah.
might have had something similar for a boat. All I was able to get out of the story that Sarah Winnemucca wrote, that they were on a reed platform. I spoke to the Paiute Tribal Council. That's what they said. It was less like a boat, more like a floating platform.
Yeah, it was like they made their own little floating island, and that was after the local tribes all banded against them, and things were going poorly for them, and they were using that for their main base. They were kind of living out on the lake on that floating island they made.
And I've seen Don take Tara Thule reed right out of the water, just pull it out. It had a bulb on the end of it, and he ate the bulb right there in front of me. He said it's starchy. It's got a lot of energy in it.
Hmm.
They were known
Thule
as
eaters.
Thule eaters. They call them Sitka, but that's a kind of incomplete. It's supposed to be Sitikata. Takata means to eat. But I guess we shorten our words, so they shorten.
Oh, the skull. Yeah, that's from Peru.
Mm.
Paracas skull.
Upcoming episode.
Yeah, that's an exact replica that Joe Taylor made for me. I was with him down there when he got permission to form that from a Rowan, and helped him with it, actually. I like to say I did because I held the light or something.
Let me tell you what, he was as good as anybody in this whole world.
Oh, he was good. He was probably one of the best in the world. I mean, you couldn't tell the difference between that one. I mean, color and everything. He just made it perfect. You still got the handprint that he tried to do for us on that cave?
I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Mine broke. I think I threw it away.
It's rather thin. It had some reinforcement in it, but
Yeah.
You didn't take much of a lick to break it.
Yeah.
I thought about maybe getting the one that I have and having the photo that I have, kind of printed onto it. Perfectly positioned like it's supposed to be, and recreate the face of the rock, of the stone.
Uh-huh.
Maybe that could be as good as we can get anyway.
You can see there's soot on the sides of these rocks. Soot goes up so that more of this cave is down this way. You can see down under there it's filled in. All right. I'm trying to get some more footage of this. I want to get some really good. Hold it now. I got it. I'll give it right to you.
That's a handprint.
There's your
When
little.
we talk about giant feet, well, yeah, it's a giant hand.
You see, it's got ridges.
I see it.
See ridges
I
down
see
here?
it. Absolutely. It's even got the joints. On
Yeah.
it. For me, I can see the joint parts.
Now, what do we see as far as what we can see on it?
You see the palm?
Do we
on
see
it?
anything like ridges or derma ridges?
Yeah, the palm is perfect. See my palm? Look at my palm. It's got the palm. It's got the palm impression right down through here. This part. I'm convinced. I mean, who am I? But I'm convinced. Thumb's right here, and then over the little pinky over there. I can see it all.
Okay. Now, let me. Okay, here we go. What I have right here is a picture that I took last June in this cave of a handprint on the wall. That is the wall right now. Don, move the light around just a little bit. It's too bright. Let's see. Let me see it. Okay, I'm just kind of. That's where this handprint was, and I'll try to show you the same angle I took my pictures from. All right, Don. Let's see here. That's the wall. Everything's been chiseled off of it. The whole face has been chiseled, and all the pieces and rubble removed. And there was the next picture I took right there. So this is where the handprint was, right here. The whole wall face is missing. They chiseled it all off. Whoever did it. Okay, so I just wanted you to know that someone has took it upon themselves to come in here and remove from this cave something that's really important that they did not want publicly known about. So there it is. Handprint's been chiseled off this wall. Back up a little bit with that, Don. That's there's your little smudge, triangular smudge. There's the handprint. You can see where they removed it. Okay. Now I'm going to do some macro photos. Don, if you want to get in the picture, just scoot over a little bit. I'll take your picture with it. Something like that.
That identifies a witness, so it does.
I got several pictures of that. You know, I was there with my camera moving it all the time and got it all documented.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You had a tablet, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a tablet and I had a cell phone too. Yeah.
That thing took great pictures.
Did. Yeah.
Sweet.
Of all the things that I've managed to get into and find, and that one right there is probably going to be the top.
It's a mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when you and Don came back and told me you wanted to crawl on down to the other part of the cave. Remember that night?
Hey, I was going to. I would have, I think.
I talked you out of it, I think.
Yeah.
You don't have a permit to do that. If you also come out with a giant skull, I'd never believe you because you didn't get it right. But found some good stuff down there, didn't you? Yeah. I don't know how you'd explain the light in that cave that night, though. You know, there's no telling what's all closed off in there. They got all blown apart. You know, big cave though.
Down in that lower chamber.
Yeah.
It had what they call a debris cone. That's when stuff goes off down in there like a waterfall. It gets washed in there or whatever when the lake was up, and it ends up falling and spreading and building and spreading until it forms a cone. And that's what I could see right up the top up there. I saw soot from fires down below that had come out of that hole. So I knew that somebody had been down in there, you know, so if you could clear that debris cone out of the way, you could get down in there where another chamber was down in there. But we probably don't know half of it. You know, it's liable to continue on.
Yeah.
You know, back up into other places.
Yeah.
I know that the limestone, the type of limestone it was travertine, which is formed with hot springs. So you know there was water aquifer there, hot water, at one time. And the pressure from the water creates a dome. And there's also gold usually. A lot of those get mined.
Well, we do know that there are other caves nearby, and it's very likely that they're connected and that there's a system under the ground where they probably connect up to yet. And so let's get back to where we were last time, picking up where we left off. MK and Don had just found and photographed that handprint, went back to civilization, put it up on the internet, freaked out everyone. And then he right away called Ron and said, "Hey, Ron, you might want to get out here and take a look at this." Well, you still can take a look at it.
Well, I told Don that this is a public cave. There's nothing to stop anybody. You know, if we don't put it out there, somebody's going to come through and find it. They exposed that rock. It looked to me like trying to build that observation deck. You know, they were moving the what do you call that stuff? Guano, backwood, whatever, around, trying to fill in the center because it was low. They didn't even see it. The people who were doing that work, they certainly, I mean, I know they were within sight of it, but just what else is down there? You know,
Right.
You can't help but ask that question.
What I wonder is what's still wandering around over there. You found some pretty freaking
possibly
strange
too.
tracks in part 1 too, you know.
That whole area around there it looks like something from, what is the name of the movie? 3 million,
Mars.
3 million BC, something like that.
BC.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It looks kind of like that, or like Mars. That'd be a good place to come and practice. You know, if you were going to send a astronaut out.
It'd be nice to have the freedom just to have a shovel in there and dig out those caverns and get down in there and see how far they go. Or if you could even strike a match to see if wind took it some way, you know, because there's probably a whole underground network there. I mean, it could be.
I tried to encourage the Paiutes to try to get control of that cave.
Oh,
If my history was tied up with that cave like that, I'd be trying to petition them to, you know, let me control it, let us control it, and let them hire their own people to come in there and dig it out. You know, people they can trust.
Apparently it's not scary enough, or they'd give it back to them like they did with the Champay Park.
Yeah. Well, so far it hasn't been scary.
his mystery is how anyone took it off. You know, BLM probably did it, and how they did it. I mean, because it was totally gone when I went back there later on with LA, and we was going to take dirt samples from it just to see if there was anything in the dirt that could reveal how it came off. Because you could tell it hadn't been chipped off, didn't look like it. And so, anyway, it's a mystery. No one could have got a permit.
I kind of figured maybe it was high pressure water. Me having been in that, I've been in industry most of my life, and I've seen those really big high pressure rigs.
Well, look what it'd take to get it up there.
Well, they wouldn't have to do anything but pull it up on a trailer and then run a hose up there, a high pressure hose up there. I've seen people that were using them that had to wear metal boots. They would literally cut your foot off or your arm off. You know, they were that much pressure, and they used those things to clean the blades on jet engines.
Hmm.
You know, there's all around there is military. You know, I figured maybe they went got BM borrowed their high pressure system and went up there and cut it off and left nothing behind but water, you know. But you know, who knows? It's a cinch that somebody knows. Somebody did it.
Well, it sure looked like a handprint, anyway.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, right down to the tarry substance having release marks where the hand was pulled away from the cave wall.
It had that little suction.
Yep.
You know, like you put taffy or tar and you pull it straight away.
Mm-hmm.
Each finger had a ridge, single ridge. That enabled. I knew then that it wasn't a piece of art because it was actually sticking to a hand that size, you know. Which
A hand that probably pushed that boulder somewhere.
they may have picked that boulder up and set it there. 18-inch hand.
I was actually thinking the hand's a little bit bigger than 18 inches because that's about the length of the knife plus sheath, and the hand looked like a little bit bigger. So it at least 18 inches.
It probably would be a little bit bigger.
Well, I got a picture before and after after it was taken off when I went back there later on again with L.A. Missoula, and so it shows how clean it was and how it looked like nothing was ever there.
Mm-hmm.
I took the two and overlaid them and blinked back and forth between the two, where you could follow it to the destroyed, you know, the before, after, before, after, before, after. It's it's clear somebody put some effort into it.
Mysterious too.
They didn't want it coming out.
And that's the key word to put in the comment section in the video this week again. Mysteriously.
I think it would have had to been somebody in the government because nobody would have had the guts, I don't think, to go up there with their own pressure washer and wash it off.
I don't think so.
That would have been a no-no and a big fine.
Yeah, really big.
They have a nice, convenient prison right there in Lovelock. Just take you right down to it.
Hold you there.
That's OJ's prison when he was in. I couldn't help but think about OJ in that trial and that big handprint. You know, the glove doesn't fit.
Yeah, you must have quit.
Yeah.
I'm sure there wasn't any fitting gloves around there.
If the handprint don't fit, that giant ain't it. So
I found some possibilities. I read an account in a book, In the Hands of the Great Spirit, 20,000 Years of Native American History. It's a book somebody wrote, and they wrote about the Indians down in the Southwest wanting to rebel against the Spanish, and they sent a party out, and they rode north for 2 or 3 weeks looking for this dude named Poseyamo. And Poseyamo allegedly was a giant, and the Poseyamo was not only physically large, but he was also extremely intelligent, and that's what they were wanting him to do, was to join their rebellion and show them what to do to run the Spanish off. And he didn't come back with them, but he wrote it down what they should do. And they came back, something happened, and they postponed it. And then a month or two later, they rebelled using his plan of action, and they ran the Spanish off to Mexico. Didn't see him again for 100 years. So Poseyamo, is that whose handprint that we're looking at, or what? I don't know, but or maybe one of a group of really large people.
Seneca.
Yeah. Poseyamo, each is made up of the first two letters of each syllable of his name. His name was much longer.
Wow. So that was his nickname.
That was kind of a shortened form that you could say. Poseyamo.
One word or two words?
It's all one word, but it's composed of syllables of his longer name. First two letters of each syllable, and then they condensed them together for one word. Poseyamo is one word.
You know, something else to be interesting is Sarah Winnemucca's dress had some supposedly red hair in it from one of the giants. She's, you know where she's buried? She's buried up north someplace. She wasn't buried there, but that'd be an interesting thing to.
If that could be found.
Wherever she's buried. She was buried in it, I think. Was she buried in it? I'm
not sure. I got a book, but it doesn't discuss anything like that in it. She did talk about that red thread that they made a thread out of the giant's hair and laced. I looked at a dress she was wearing. Is not only dress, but it had like a lapel coming down here separately, and it's black and white photo, but it looked like they were stitching in there, which that would work for male or female. So if it'd been passed down through the years from one person to another, a male could wear that too. But I really don't know if that's what it is. You try to figure things out like that, but you have the vaguest things to go on, you know. Except that handprint's not too vague. It was, for the first time, it wasn't vague.
We also mentioned there was an imprint on the wall that looked like a body had been lying there. Well, there was huge heat outlining it. We didn't get that picture, so if you got a picture of that one, send it over.
I'll get it to you. I have it.
Because, that's more weird evidence there or something going on.
It looked like a body had been laying in front of the rock on its side, and you could see the outline of the body on the rock. But it was the reverse of the hand. It was the body shielded the heat from the rock, and you saw black soot around the edges. And, you know, you could see it. It's like a negative. Yeah. They may not have destroyed that. I'll send that to you.
Oh yeah, we got to show everybody that one. We referenced it last time, so of course it's a needful thing. So, how long was it after you called Ron before he showed up there and came flying in onto the flat lake bed?
He came fast. How fast you come, Ron?
I don't remember.
It was.
I don't remember.
He got
we
there
got the epic video of Ron.
Fast as my airplane. Were you talking about the time I flew over there in the airplane?
No. When you came and met Joe up there.
Oh. See, Joe met me in Reno, I think it was. He flew into Reno. And
both of y'all came fast. If you hadn't, you would have missed it. We got there in time.
Oh, he flew in from Texas. You know?
Yeah.
And I think I had a resident up there at the time. I'm not sure. It's been a while. I got a good memory, just not near as long as it used to be.
Not either.
I forgot where I left it anyway. But I've been there 4 times. You've been there, I guess, 8 times, MK?
Yeah.
And still can't get to the bottom of it. They don't show you that stuff in the museums anymore. All we got is that picture that Don took years and years ago. That's all I got anyway. The picture that Don Monroe took when they did display them, but you can't display them anymore. And we went to Winnemucca looking. And I'm not Winnemucca. Not Lovelock, but Winnemucca. And couldn't find anything.
They're not so nice there anymore.
No.
When I first went there, they were the nicest people.
Well,
They said, "Come on in, let me tell you the story of the red-haired giants." Now, when you go in there, they got don't want to hear nothing about no giants.
that's right. They all been warned.
Yeah.
You have been warned. I know. I got that letter back from BLM. I wrote BLM. I got a copy of that letter. It said, no giants there. Just 8-foot tall, robust people.
Just keep walking along, people. Nothing to see here.
But me and Don, when we were trying to go through the museum the last time, they would cut the lights off on the displays.
Really?
Yeah, ahead of us. You know, it'd be on our left, we'd be headed left, and then I'd look up and I see the light go off on it. Trying to hurry us on out.
Well, you guys are kind of notorious. I mean, there was that one incident with the Jeep where you had to go, zoom up over the berm and hide in the crater there where the skull was.
Yeah, John and I thought we saw a cave, another cave in the bright moonlight. And I said, Don, let's go toward it, see if we can get close. And there was a sink there, and they had some construction equipment down in that sink. And I pulled down in there next to the construction stuff, and these people opened up on us with big bright lights. It looked like something from, they used during World War II or something. You could see the whole beach.
Yeah.
And they were all around us. You could see it come right over our heads. We were just a little too low down in that sink, and they couldn't get it on us. And we waited there for 45 minutes, and they finally left. So I figured that was somebody from the BLM or somewhere. Didn't want to be caught by them, that's for sure. I don't know we weren't doing anything wrong. I guess they thought maybe we were headed up there to Lovelock Cave or something. I don't know.
And just happened to have all kinds of security handy to cut you off from doing it too. Mysteriously. It's a nice word.
Well, that's I didn't know what to, I maybe I should have been more scared than I was, but I really wasn't scared. I just kind of just sat tight. I got Don. I said, Don, cut your flashlight off now. And he was looking back at me. We just hid out for 45 minutes and think about sometimes, now here I am far from home and out in the middle of the North Nevada desert, hiding from who knows who,
Did you guys ever get up to the cave that you thought you spotted?
No, we left.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't push it.
Oh, well.
How far from the Lovelock Cave was that?
When you met last fork, when you go right toward Lovelock Cave, this was the fork to the left. It went around the base of that mountain ridge. It may have been that Leonard's Cave that people talk about. There's another cave. It's not too far. It's got a whole bunch of petroglyphs in it.
Really?
Yeah, it's got petroglyphs and artifacts. You know, I watched a video of a guy, Alex, I forgot his last name. He has a YouTube channel. He went there.
Who the hell needs Indiana Jones when you got M.K. Davis around to investigate?
Well, I wasn't interested in the artifacts. I had one thing on my mind, and that was giants. You know, and I definitely would have hoofed it over there to it if I had known for sure that was a cave over there. Even if those people did, you know, try to spotlight us.
Still sounds kind of mysterious to me.
Do you know where they found those bones of those giants in the Humboldt lake bed? How far away was it from
Yeah. Yeah, about maybe a couple of miles.
across the other side?
No, this side.
Oh.
In the bed is our Utes had a camp there at one time. They camp there seasonally, but they found a horrible looking skull, and they put up a report about it, the University of California, but they never published the report. I happened to come across it. A company named Inscribed they went around from college to college publishing previously unpublished things. They pay a little fee, and I when I found it, it said unusual skull found near Lovelock. And of course, I went immediately over there, and they had everything. They had the entire report. You know, they filled up the cranium with birdseed, measured it.
Pictures of the skull from all angles.
Pictures of the skull from all angles. It was wicked looking. It had kind of a occipital ridge, and had a jutting. The mouth jutted like this. It just looked like that thing could just eat you alive. And the thing about it is, they found it with a backhoe. If that sounds like TLC to you, not really. And I knew they found it with a backhoe, and they didn't even find it that year. They just dumped it into a berm, you know, a pile of dirt, and then over the winter it washed the mud off of it. And one of their students came back early and found it. And but it was a whole skull, I mean a whole skeleton to begin with, and they just broke it up. You know, with their TLC, you know, love and care. Hold on just a minute.
The great technology of modern science at their capabilities. A backhoe. MK has a bone that was collected from that spot, actually, which I think is what he's going to go get right now. Because he was up there after he found out where it was and everything. And as we mentioned in part one, when he got his hands on this write-up on the skull with all of the information on it and everything, he put it out on his channel right away. And shortly after that, all of a sudden, you couldn't get it online anymore. Mysteriously. And yeah, it looks like he's got the piece of vertebrae. Yep.
But it was too late.
But it was too late because he blew their cover.
Let me cut this light off so it won't be so
uber bright. Now you can see it better. That's a big bone.
And it's very old. I don't know if you can, the resolution's not too good on this camera, but you can see it's cracks all in it. Which what happens when you expose one to the air.
Yeah.
After it's been cut off from oxygen for a long time.
Now they talk about some of those giant skeletons that they dug up, and they were so old. As soon as they were exposed to air, the bones basically just crumbled to dust.
It happens. But that was out in that bed you were talking about, Don, a couple of miles from Lovelock Cave.
Pretty darn cool.
I found a piece of Indian corn cob.
Hmm.
It's a little bitty, short thing about like that. That's all they grew then conditions back then.
Yeah. Lucky they
So
grow
I
anything.
knew I had the place, you know.
Mhm.
So, yeah, tell us about when you got there with MK, Ron. We got video of you flying in.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wasn't able to take that picture.
you had a pinpoint landing.
Well, I got pretty good at that on some of the gravel strips in Canada and Alaska,
I bet.
creek beds.
It was such a remote looking place though. It landed in that old lake bed like that, mountains all around.
Well, anyway, I flew up there just to see them again and do what we did. I think I was by myself, wasn't I, when I flew in there? Yeah.
Yeah, you were by yourself.
Anyway, what do you want me to remember? What do you want me to remember?
All of it.
I don't know.
Everything.
Okay, I just
All the
did.
important high points.
I just did. I remember flying in there.
Well, I got lots. I got
There's a good Mexican restaurant there in Lovelock. I know we used to go back there and spend the night there after we played that cave all day long, and I enjoyed that. And well, I ended up staying there one night because I was tired. You and Don went back. Remember?
Yeah.
Come back, want me to go back with you to
Yeah.
dig through that tunnel or whatever it was. I talked you out of it, I think, because like I said, you wouldn't have got, if you'd have found a giant skull down there or anything, it wouldn't have done you any good, because they wouldn't believe you. You can't get a permit to do that. You're right about trying to find a Paiute, go see those Paiutes there, and they should have the right to do everything they want to in there, maybe.
Well, you would think they would.
Well, they can reclaim the skull if they want to.
That whole entire situation is so
Mysterious.
yeah. It's hard to say even where the skulls are. If the skulls, they won't tell you. That giant, really big one that Don took years and years ago. They say they never had it. Now he's got pictures of it in their basement.
Yeah. That kind of blows the cover.
Until they get ready to tell you something, they're not going to tell you. It's just the way the government is. I don't trust too much about what they say. Good way to watch the news anymore. Just don't know what to believe.
Amen. It's just a big propaganda factory.
It just lets us know that there's a lot more to the story. And the story goes way back beyond what anything that's in the history books. You know, it's well, Don carried me over there. He knew the Indians personally that owned this land, and it's on the other side of Pyramid Lake. There were some petroglyphs that since then have been dated to be the oldest petroglyphs in North America.
Mhm.
They're 10,500 years old, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. Familiar looking petroglyphs, and then outside of that, there was a word that I recognized. The word, I could read it. It's Egyptian, and it says Ramses.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, and those oblong, circular, are cartouches. I don't know why they didn't say anything. Somebody should have seen that. But I got pictures of them.
Mysterious.
Yeah, there's also been Bigfoot reports over there at Pyramid Lake. Do you know that?
Giants and the like too.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, those giants. Some of the stories that I came across were shared with me by a gentleman from up in Montana, and he had found the giant that they. I don't know if you're familiar with this, Ron, but while the University of California was on hiatus in Lovelock Cave, the townspeople came out there and they dug up a giant skeleton. Well, it was a mummy, they said, and they boiled it and made a liquor that they drank in some kind of
Gosh.
and as it turned out, they cut the head off of it before they did that. And that head resurfaced in a newspaper sometime later. So that when I talk about vague, this is something that nobody intended to get out, but somebody didn't ask somebody, and they let it get published. And it's sitting there with its mouth open. It's got unusual dentition. There's too many teeth.
Double roll, or?
It could be. You know, back then a newspaper wasn't a real quality photo. 1922, I think.
You know about the. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead.
I was going to talk about the mammoth skull that Dr. Denton found with his Boy Scout troops years ago. In the Minaret area.
Yeah.
That was not far from. I mean, where the crow flies, that's not far at all from where all this stuff takes place. Lovelock. But that we chased that down. Al Barry and I did. Went back there on horseback and mule and started digging around trying to find more of the bones. And but I don't know if you guys know that story or not. But Dr. Denton gave a report on it. Said it was much bigger and he wanted to know what it was. So he sent it to UCLA, and that's where it disappeared. Al Barry went all the way down to UCLA to try to find that where that went. No one knew a thing about it.
Somebody's got it.
And he interviewed Dr. Denton too. Yeah, somebody has. Probably using it as ashtray or something, you know.
Mysteriously.
The Minaret skull. Oh, they have pictures of it. I've seen pictures of it. It's not a normal human skull by any means.
Oh, it's big. Anyway, we went back there on horses and we spent several days back there digging around that little meadow that Dr. Denton said he found it, and trying to find some more bones, and ate some good trout, but that's about it. Nice
well,
waterfall
you never know
there.
unless you try. You never know.
Exactly.
Well, one thing for sure, you got 100% to not find one if you don't look.
Yeah.
That's absolute fact.
Ungodly high percentage. Usually things that are weird don't come and find you. And don't forget, while we're on the subject of Pyramid Lake, you also got to the legend of the water babies in the lake there too. And after we mentioned that on Lovelock Part 1, I had a couple people that left comments on it saying, yeah, I live right around there. I've been there for 40 years. You couldn't pay me enough to get me to put my toe in that lake, much less go swimming in it or be in a boat on it. And they backed you up 100%, MK.
Yeah, there was no one there. The whole lake. There was no one on it. This big, beautiful lake full of fish. Nobody was out there.
What'd you see? I missed that, I guess.
The Pyramid Lake.
Yeah.
It was. They were afraid of water babies.
Oh.
They
The
still
water
are
babies
afraid of water babies.
Some kind of a creature that'll pull you under, drag you into the water, and you'd never seen again.
Huh.
And apparently enough people believed it that nobody wanted to try it.
Yeah, and that just got verified with the viewers' comments saying, yeah, that's still the case over here. Nobody goes out on that lake on a boat. Nobody goes and swims in that lake. You know, he said, I fish it from shore, but, you know, a little ways back from shore.
They got a fish that lives in there that the only other place it lives is in Lake Titicaca.
Really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
that is really strange.
Mysterious. That's
Like
another place
Titicaca,
around where
that's
there's a lot of
50,000
giants.
feet elevation.
Yeah, I know. I don't even. How would he get up there?
Well, good question.
Somebody stalking the lakes with their favorite fish.
Well, but that lake used to be at sea level. I mean, there's evidence of in Lake Titicaca. I've been around there, and they find artifacts down under the water that's sea to sea
Yeah.
shells and stuff from
At
the ocean.
one time, it might have been a lot lower down.
Oh, it was. Yeah.
Well, you know the Devil's Hole. You know where that is? Death Valley, around Death Valley.
Well,
It's a hole that goes down to an aquifer, and they got it fenced off now because some people skin dived in there and died. But they had an earthquake 400 miles away in Mexico, and it rocked the water in Devil's Hole, and so the government put up a measurement stick, you know, and they wrote down there earthquake and so. This is where the water went, and it turned out that even the Japanese earthquake, way over across the pond, rocked that water in Devil's Hole.
huh. How far down below ground level is it?
It's not too far. I mean, it's maybe 15, 20 feet.
Uh-huh.
You see water. They got fish living in there. They're found nowhere else. They're called a pup fish. That's their main reason for putting the fencing, is to keep people out, because of that fish. There's several aquifer holes where you can go down to the aquifer around there, but the one they call Devil's Hole is. I think the Manson's family had ideas about. There's a chamber under there. You go swim for so far, and you can come up in a chamber, you know, air and everything in it. And they were going to hide out in there. Thank goodness that never came about. But the fact that all that's under there,
Yeah.
and that's has been reached by different people. No, but they don't know. If it wouldn't just continue doing that, you know, chambers and connections.
Well, is it salt water or fresh water?
It's fresh water, but warm.
Uh,
It's a warm spring, about 86 degrees, something like that.
So again, this region around Lovelock Cave, even if the surface is barren and looks like Mars, you go down a ways and there's water down there, and there's probably a cave system. So easy living for troglodyte creatures, basically.
Well, you got to wonder.
well, there was water in the Humboldt bed right there below the cave for a long time, I guess, but it's all dried up now.
It still gets a little bit in the wintertime most of the time.
Does it?
Yeah, and they'll use it up. They use it for irrigation and stuff. That if you go see that lake bed connects to the Humboldt River. The Humboldt River feeds that lake, or it did in the past. You follow the Humboldt upstream, and it comes out in Jarbidge, the Jarbidge Mountains.
In Search of, episode 3.
That's where they even today see giants. A bunch of elk hunters got surrounded by them. It's been 8 or 10 years ago. And they said at least one was 12 feet tall.
You know what I predict?
What's
I
that?
predict that all these giants aren't going to be giants at all. We're going to be the midgets. There can be so many of them.
Perspective there.
Well, you take these aliens that have been doing seen that are 9 foot tall and all that stuff. Well, come on. They think we're little. We think they're big. So it's all perspective, right?
Yeah, it possibly could be. Except they have what they call little people, which
Yeah,
are
yeah,
like
yeah.
this,
Yeah. 2 or 3 feet tall. We got them up here.
There's a mound along the Missouri River, and this several. And I've read a book about this Indian that traveled up that way, and he was told to stay away from that mound. It was the little people lived around him with large heads, and they would kill you. And later on, that doggone if they didn't tell Lewis and Clark the same story. They said you can go out this way, but don't, if you see that mound, stay away from it. Go around it, because the little people live there with large heads.
Well, they shoot
And
you with
sharks
poison
like
darts
you.
or something?
I don't know. They apparently were good at killing.
Wow.
The Nurumbi, also known as the Namurgar. Little people that live up here in Montana and Wyoming, and have shark-like teeth, super strength, and super speed, work in teams like poisoned weapons and traps. Boy, do you not want to piss them off.
I would have no problem. I've got a picture. I actually got a picture of that mound, and they're hard to find. Taken way back when.
Yeah, they're.
Get close to see if I could see anything.
I had serious doubts about little people being a real thing until I found some 3-inch long moccasin tracks out in the middle of nowhere. And I went, yeah, apparently they're real.
Well,
And
you
I'm
see
getting the
that
hell out of
basket.
here.
Joe or Don Monroe has those little baskets.
Yeah,
You've seen those.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, little. You wonder how anybody could weave those things that small.
They're miniature.
And that's kind of interesting.
Last episode, we showed a picture that was taken up in the Arctic tundra by someone who was just traveling through the area and found a fish drying hut that was about that tall. It had teeny fish hanging in it, out in the middle of nowhere on the tundra.
Well, from what everybody tells me, I tell you, when I visited with the Hoopa Tribal Council, they told me that they didn't really have much of a problem with Bigfoot. They said it was the little people that they were afraid of. And they said every year they travel to the top of Marble Mountain and put out tobacco for them in a little ceremony to keep them appeased.
Mm-hmm. I like sweet cakes and hard candy too.
These are grown men.
Oh yeah.
I don't figure they'd be just, telling a tall tale. He was serious.
And finding those moccasin tracks made a believer out of me. They're in a place where there's nowhere in hell there was any woman with a toddler with moccasins on walking around over there. I'll tell you that much.
That story about, what's the name of that book where they had the Lilliputians?
Gulliver's Travels.
Gulliver's Travels. They seen the illustration in there where they had his hair strung out and staked to the ground. Even though it was a made-up thing, I believe it probably had some basis in a fear that existed. That people had of Lilliputian-like people, small. So there
Dangerous,
goes the
dangerous.
perspective thing, but it went the other way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
We're
interesting
giants
because
to them.
I find that up here too. The natives that I've talked to about it say, if you see Bigfoot tracks or you think Bigfoot's around or something, just be cautious. Don't be aggressive toward it. Be respectful. If you see any signs of little people or you hear them or see their tracks or anything, leave the area immediately. That's the way they deal with it. So you got to wonder what's, there's got to be something prompting that. The little guys are way scarier than the big hairy guys are. So getting back to Lovelock Cave again, so we got Ron in there, and Ron, at some point I don't remember who exactly you were with, but you guys were walking around on the opposite side of the hill from where the cave was, and found some interesting stuff out there.
Yeah, I was with Don Monroe, and I think MK was there. We all running around there trying to, not running, but looking, exploring the area. We drove a lot back in there too. And yeah, we found some tracks. I took pictures of them and be glad to share those with you if I can find them.
Well, what do they look like? Were these
five-toed, I forgot how long it was, but they were more than, you don't see anybody running around barefooted up in them mountains there.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so. They're bigger than human size, probably.
Oh, yeah. You remember those, MK?
Oh yeah, yes I do. I got quite a few pictures.
Oh.
The soil had been rained on. You know how that soil kind of percolates when it gets wet and fluffs up, and it is about that thick. It's not mud when it's dry, but it's got a lot of air in it, airspace, and of course when they step, it goes down pretty good, so you can see them very plainly. And these Ron and Don were trying to figure out the stride, and they look bipedal. I don't know how any creature could put its rear foot into the front foot that perfectly for that long, without seeing
every single
foot.
time without.
Yeah,
no.
It looked bipedal.
Does that feel like a natural way to walk?
I think you got your legs crossed like I did.
It feels kind of awkward.
So if you go this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, this way.
That's your shorts.
I think that is a bipedal something. It almost has to be. There, the back feet are fitting perfectly inside.
Well, the horse is like that. And then, wow.
Well, it stood there. You can see where it stood there, or something, whatever it was, stood there. And then they stepped off like here. That's a 3.5 foot stride, which ours is 30
that's 2
inches.
yards almost from here to the end of it.
Well,
The tracks we showed in part one were very strange looking too, and those definitely looked bipedal, and they were huge, and didn't even look like Bigfoot tracks. Too wide and 4 toes.
They were 20 inches long, going by
go.
Don's knife. And they were plain to see. You could see them easy. I kind of, it's hard to believe your own eyes. You're looking down at them, and of course later on I got Ron's book, and he had a picture in there with a 25-inch track. Holy cow!
Yeah, they get that big.
The big one. He's got to be huge. We never found that one right in our camp. Biggest one we found around our camp was, I think, 22 inches. That's big. But the average one around the camp was probably 18, 19 inches. And we had a little lineage track there one time too. Little one was around in the snow. Found that in the snow. But that 25-inch track was unbelievable. Just, I didn't talk about that for a long time. None of us did. It's just
Nobody
hard to
would have
believe.
believed it. They would have thought
Well,
it was.
Nowadays, I don't care. That's what we saw. That's what was there. Some, you know, so you can either believe it or not. I'm not out there trying to prove anything to anybody.
No. Well, you know, I've found several tracks over 20 inches long myself, so I know that there are things like that are leaving. But that was spectacular. Really nice detail, you know, 25, 26 inches, whatever it was. It was gigantic. So, yeah, that was probably one of the most spectacular tracks I've ever seen from anywhere. Good job, Ron.
Yeah, I was really glad you took a picture of it. Picture's worth 1,000 words.
And then some.
That was worth 1,000 an inch.
Well, in the situation, too, he's not only recording the Sierra sounds, he keeps getting pictures. There's tracks around camp. What's leaving these? They sure look like Bigfoot tracks, you know.
Adventurous life. Yeah.
That'll go down in history as well. It's the audio. It's on par with the Patterson film, but audio.
Yep.
Well,
That's
with the right place doing the right thing at the right time, I guess.
Right.
And Al Berry, I think, he's one that fostered all the studies, or not all the studies, but the first study with Dr. Curlin. Hadn't been for him, probably wouldn't be doing anything right now. I mean, I wouldn't be. But this kind of took over my life since I retired from business, and been 20 years ago. I retired. Forgot when I quit.
While ago.
2 years. But,
Well, I mean, it's all a matter of what you want to do with it when you find evidence or information. Because there's, for every person who does the responsible thing, there's probably 15 or 20 that don't never say a word.
Yeah.
You know, just let it go.
You're right. Yeah.
There's a lot more of it out there.
It's getting better. There's more and more general knowledge that there could be maybe Bigfoot out there, and it's getting more acceptable for people to talk about having sightings and stuff. So more of it's coming forward. And, you know, some people are getting the perception that suddenly there's a lot more Bigfoot around. But I said, well, look at the reports. Some of these are from 30, 40, 50 years ago. They just finally decided to come forward and talk about it because they didn't feel like they could until now. Or then you get the old guy effect too, which is where when you get to a certain age, you just don't give a shit anymore, and you'll tell everybody anything, and you don't care.
Well, I mean, given the times and everything, I don't know. I guess maybe I may be a little different from most folks, but I've always felt like transparency is the best.
Agreed.
Best way to go with it.
Yeah, you don't have to try to remember anything. You just tell the truth and tell everything you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stick by it.
A lot easier to tell the truth than try to remember tons of elaborate lies, that's for sure.
That's so true, yeah.
That way they can't trip you up because you didn't make anything up. It's just the truth. You know?
Yeah.
Here's what happened. The story's going to be the same every single time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So which one of you guys exactly found those tracks on the opposite side of the hill? Who has encountered them first?
I don't recall.
I don't remember.
Well, that means it's probably Don.
Whoever had the best vision, because they see them a long ways off. You could see them on out there.
Yeah.
So they must have been fairly obvious then. It wasn't like he had to walk up on it in order to find it. You could see them from a ways away.
They didn't need discernment.
That's the day Don fell off the cliff.
Yes, it was.
He must have been, 50, 80 feet down there. He just went rolling.
He fell on those sharp rocks.
Yeah.
That's sharp.
And then gets up and walks back up.
Dusting himself off. He went up there. He was looking at an eagle nest. Hey, the eagle done went as high as he can go, you know, and still be on the ground. And Don goes up there and tumbles off.
Yeah. I was right there by him when he did that.
I tell you what, I feared for him. Sure enough.
Well, you know, he's going to live until he don't, and all any of us are going to do. So.
Yeah, he's had a storied life, that's for sure.
You know, when I first met Don, it was in Oregon. You and him were there at that meeting we went to on the river. You remember that? I forgot how it
Yeah, up on the Siam River.
I don't remember the river, but
Yeah.
he was talking like, oh, he's crazy. I mean, he talked like he'd been everywhere and done all these things, and after you got to know him, you felt he really has been in a lot of places and done a lot of things. But,
Yeah, he's been invaluable to me because there's no way that I would have ever even known about some of those places if he hadn't, you know, shared with me or take me to them. And he also supported me a great deal, you know, coming far as from far away like I did, you know, and he would pick me up at the airport, and those things be forever grateful for.
Yeah, you know, remember he gave us all a piece of sausage that he bought there at Death Valley. We was all going to chicken across there, and he left a piece of sausage. We got to carry 2 gallons of water. You got to cross there, you know. Well, we had Joe Taylor with us too, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah. We had Joe and I think it was Daniel Allen Jones from down there in Texas. He was with Joe.
Well, I don't regret not trying to do that. I got to out and look across there, and I thought, my gosh, we're going to walk across that. I was limping about that time anyway. Oh, well.
So before we get going here, what else stands out to you about your trips over to Lovelock Cave, Ron?
Oh, just the history of it, and trying to find out, get to the bottom of it. And the biggest thing, I think, well, not the biggest thing, but a big thing is who and why, who took those prints off that rock. You know, you can't get a permit to do that. So somebody did it. It might have been BLM, but it's still illegal. They could not have got that done with approval. And how they got up there, you know, MK mentioned maybe they hauled a pressure washer up there. Well, the pressure washer makes sense, but going up that hill without leaving tracks, that's pretty steep. And there's just a trail that you walk on to get up there, but to drive up there, to pull something up there, what would you pull it up there with? You know, it's all mystery. And I'd like to know who did that. But I'm pretty sure it was a BLM, because I had written to the BLM. We got that letter back saying, no such thing as giants. Well, BS.
You said you're looking at a giant handprint.
Well, anyway, it's just the way they've been told and brainwashed to do it or lose your job. So.
Oh, you silly people. Just because we're finding giant skulls and giant handprints doesn't mean there was giants. And the giant tracks don't prove anything either.
Right. Yeah. Well, the thing is that those tracks weren't that old. I mean.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Something's still around there that leaves giant tracks.
They were done since the last rain.
Yeah.
You know, because it had time to dry out and do that little process. You know, that little effervescence.
Now, whether it's a Bigfoot or a troll or something else, there's still something huge wandering around in that area.
Well, there's something huge running around all over the world. Well, the one kind too. They just, in my opinion, I mean, you see different kind over in Nepal. You see them just, what do you say? They're all over the place.
You know, Don went up there and spent the night in the winter time, dead of winter, by himself.
Lovelock?
In Lovelock Cave. He sure did, with nothing but a candle.
Did he stay outside or in the cave?
He stayed in the cave for a while, then he went back and got in his car. he did back then it was like primitive in its infancy podcasting, type. And we discovered that you can walk all around that cave and not have a phone signal, but you can walk to the mouth of it and you get a phone signal. I guess it's like a dish. And he was on that podcast. No, it wasn't a podcast. It was our old show, artistfirst.com.
Oh,
It was on Artist First. He called in from Lovelock Cave, middle of the winter. I don't know. It gets cold up there.
yep.
Yeah, well, he's used to Montana, so no big deal.
Well, it's not. He'd do anything.
Yeah. Montanans, we spent half the year being frozen, so cold doesn't affect us very much. We're almost as durable as Minnesotans in that regard.
I think being there and be able to film Joe Taylor casting that, trying to get that print off that rock, which that's quite a feat to do that. I'm glad you still got yours unobstructed, MK, because I don't.
Well, I have it. I don't know if you could make a copy of it or not. Some people can make good copies, but it's something so delicate.
What if you could do a laser copy?
Yeah, they had on your phone nowadays, don't they?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Scan
You can
scan
3D
it.
scan things with your phone.
iPhone.
Yep. You could do that. You can make a silicone cast.
Technology is such that it's within reach easy.
I recommend people that have one of the modern doohickey cameras. It's got like the 3 lenses on it to actually get that app, because it's even better than casting a track. You're going to get every single bit of detail in it. Plus, you can look at it from all around, like you're standing underground looking at it from the side, or like you're directly underground looking at it from below. You can see it from every single angle, and there's no disturbation of any material that may have been in there arising from trying to pour casting material in there and shifting things around. You're just scanning it with light, so you're getting everything that was actually there.
Well,
all right.
I'm committed to my phone. I'm not married, but I'm committed to it.
Yeah.
For until the next plan comes up, then I might look and see if I can get one with the scanner on it. It's got multiple cameras on it, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got the right one. You just need the app. You can take 3D pictures of tracks. You don't have to worry about carrying casting material around anymore.
I
That's
don't do that.
I wouldn't carry any around anyway.
Yeah. Out of the hundreds of tracks that I found and filmed, I have never ever casted even one. So that's how into casting tracks I am. I don't care.
Well, Ron might have to carry around like 5 gallons, tracks that long.
We did have plaster. We did have casts up there. We took some casts, but that went on for about 2 years, and we stopped. I stopped, and I think I gave one away. I had 4, I think, but I got one now. One really nice big one, 19 inches.
Nice.
And I got it all, the twigs and everything else in it, just like it was. And I got it in a box with a bunch of styrofoam around it.
Right on.
I tell you,
And a couple copies I've made.
If you want to get a really good cast of a historical track, Jeff Meldrum's a good person to get them from.
Yeah.
He makes some of the most accurate. He makes them digitally, with
Jeff wanted to have one of ours to check out one time. And Alberry said, no upside to that. He's going to compare it to Patterson track, and ours don't really compare to that. They're different. And,
y'all,
5 toes.
When they get that size, I had a guy. I watched his YouTube, and he was a biologist, and he said, "What happens if you get this big, this big, this big?" And he went into detail about what would have to happen to your support system structure. So when you start to get up into those really giant sizes, your legs change and your feet change to support weight. They become more like pillars than the bending of the knee is not as prominent. It's I've got it. I've saved that whole entire thing so that I can refer to it. But I kind of seen that over the years when you look at some really oversized tracks. You know, they walk a little differently, and the support onto the foot is less, you know, heel to toe and more like set down, and it just depends on the weight. In order to support that much weight.
Gravity.
Gravity, yeah.
Unfortunately. All right. Well, before we go here, is there anything else pertaining to the whole Lovelock thing you wanted to mention, Ron?
Me? Mention?
Yeah. Because you were there 4 times.
4 times, yeah. Well, it's an adventure. If anybody wants an adventure, they should go there. It's about 20 miles out of the town of Lovelock. And if you're lucky, you won't have to drive through any berms, sandstorms. It's quite a desolate area, really. But there's still something there, I think.
Bring water and a flare gun.
We just don't know. I wish the Paiutes would get more involved in that, but they don't care. I don't think they care. We went and seen them that one time, remember? Okay, at least I was there. I don't know if you were there. Yeah, you were there. Oh.
I was there I was with Don, but I don't think I went with you.
Oh, trying to get permission, you know, because the only way you're going to get those skulls out of the museum if they were in the museum, which if they were taken away to Smithsonian or wherever, because a lot of things have been handled wrong, like the Minaret skull and all that.
We ain't never gonna figure that out.
But they're the only ones that can repatriate it, you know. Let's go get access to them.
I think that they didn't really want to do that.
No, I don't think they did either. Or they would have.
They were trying to avoid that. They would
realistically, they can't have it. They can't have it both ways, though. If you're going to say, well, these are Native American remains, so you can't put them in a museum. Okay, well, then repatriate them to the natives.
Right. Well,
if they're not native remains, then why can't we put them in a museum?
Well, the thing is, the natives don't want them. They don't do it.
Yeah, because they know it's not their relatives. That's why they don't want them.
Well, they do believe that they're not their relatives.
No, and not only that,
the thing is, the government thinks it is. So.
Yeah. This is the same kind of thing with pottery. Randy Caveman Yazzie has the local Hosteen, which is what they call the Bigfoot down there, keep leaving them pottery shards in this one pile not too far from his house. And about every couple of years, the pile builds up big enough, and he calls the university and tells them to come get all the pottery shards because he ain't going to touch them because they consider them cursed. So they're not gifting him cursed goodies. Like, what are they doing? Toxic waste cleanup? Oh, here's some more cursed pottery pieces. We'll throw them in a pile. You can get rid of them.
I've got a big old pile of cursed pottery shards. Maybe that's what's wrong with me.
But yeah, according to Caveman, that's no. Those are from that other tribe, and they're cursed, and we won't even touch those pieces of pottery. So every so often they build up a big pile of them, and then he calls the university and they got another pile out here. Come collect it up. I'm not going to touch it. You know.
Well, guys, I got to get off. I got something to do here in a little while.
Right on. You're going to be on another show yet later on tonight?
Yeah, I got another one to do.
Let everybody know if they want to see your stuff or get a hold of you. What's the best way to go about doing that?
I go to my website, ronmoorehead.com. MOOREHEAD.com. And all my books are downloadable there, and my CDs are there, downloadable. And or you can order a hard copy of the books, or not hard, but a paperback through my website. It's delivered right to your house.
And his books are excellent, and I recommend them.
Thank you.
Well, it's just the truth. MK Davis, you can get a hold of him, Greenwave 2010 FB on YouTube. And where else?
thedavisreport.wordpress.com.
Okay. Is that it
Facebook.
then? Facebook. That's the
X.
other one. Are you on
Yeah, I
Facebook?
got Facebook too.
Okay, you're on Facebook. I'm also on Facebook. I got a group over there, Montana Bigfoot Project. Come join up, share your pictures and videos and stuff. All right. Well, it was wonderful having you two guys here. I'm looking forward to having both of you back again in the future. Thanks so much for making the time to be with us, Ron, and put in your 2 cents worth and back up MK about that giant handprint and everything, because God knows there weren't very many people that got out there to actually see the damn thing.
Well, show the picture I sent you. I got a picture of it with Don's knife next to it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll be showing that.
The big one to put on.
Yep.
I'm sure you got one too like that, don't you, MK?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks a lot.
Well, good to see you again, Ron.
Nice being on with you guys. Thanks.
All right. Take care, Ron.
You too.
Everybody else, you know the usual drill. Follow all the rules at the end of the show, and don't go wandering around by any giant cannibal caves in the middle of the night by yourself.
Counts for the damage. Is that a camel?
I don't know. That's a camel on the right.
We get to feed that. You'll get to feed the
entry.
camel, and we
Hey,
get
they're feeding it out of their hands. Yeah, see?
the camel's
It's
coming.
coming to us, Sarah.
Okay,
Sarah,
get some ready,
Don't
David.
yell at me, okay?
It's coming.
Oh no, it's getting everywhere. Yeah, I'm gonna drop that on the ground.
Okay. No.
Yeah, Debbie. Let him have it. My God. Uh-oh, Debbie, here, I don't hope he don't stick his head in here.
No, just keep driving past him.
All right, next time, man. Oh, here we go.
Not gonna lie.
Hey, man.
I'm scared. I'm gonna top
You went right past me.
It felt so weird.
Llama.
I don't have anything.
I got some. Llama.
My wife gave it all to the camel.
Sarah, get your feet in and put it over there. It feels so nice. Get some more, get some
All right, let's go, guys.
more. Give me some more feeding if you want.
I want to touch it.
There's some more feeding for you.
You touched his mouth already.
All right, here's an ostrich. That's an ostrich. A female.
Don't let that one out of your hand.
What?
Give me one. Give me some.
You got a big beak?
Yeah.
Here comes.
Here you go.
Ah, no, you can't have the bag.
Help! Help me! Help! Help!
Oh,
Help me!
that hurt.
Help!
I dropped it. I dropped it.
Drive away! Drive away!
Kind to everyone. Safety first, last, and always. Pay it forward. Don't be mean to people if you don't have to be. Don't flip off the mountain giant. Don't poke Dogman with a stick. Don't punt the puck, would you? And for God's sake, whatever you do, do not hug the Wookiee.